Billie Eyelash. Billie Eyelash.
So I recently watched a video where Rainn Wilson, who plays Dwight Schrute in the hit TV series The Office, goes to Billie Eilish's home to interview her about that show, because it turns out that Billie Eilish is this crazy The Office fan. And in that video, Rainn Wilson calls her Billie Eyelash.
Billie Eyelash.
So I got this weird idea to do Billie Eilish's bad guy and record it with only my eyelashes. So that's what I did, that's what you heard. And I'll give a little bit of insight on what I did and how I did it. Here we go. First of all, I'm going to show you the audio clip I recorded of me blinking for a little bit. This is me blinking a little bit harder. It's a little squishy. It's really nasty. Yeah, that last one, oh man. Honestly, I have a weird feeling that people are gonna think this is fake, so let me just demonstrate it right here, right now. Nasty. So after recording this grossness, I decided to find out the bass drum and the snare sound first. So that kick and snare sound are right here. I was hearing this kind of sound, you know? And that's just me basically closing my eye and opening it. This is the bass drum. So here's the EQ of the kick, and there's a huge low cut there, but it's surprising actually how much low end there is in this audio clip, because what happens is what's called the proximity effect. The closer a sound source is to a microphone, the more the microphone picks up low end or bass frequencies. So there's a little bit of boom, but I didn't really want much at all because it is an eyelash. It's me blinking. I don't want it to be, you know? Okay, this is the snare. So here's the snare drum EQ, and here you can see that there's quite a huge low cut over there just to get rid of all the muck and make it really tinny and to have a little boost there in the high mids. So there's the bass drum and the snare. Then I'm just kind of mixing and matching things together, taking something that sounds really gross, for instance, in my eye, and then I'll occupy some frequency space with that. So with that said, here are the drums. Now we'll move on to how I made the melodic instruments. That stuff is really interesting and really fun. So in practice, I'm making an instrument out of one blinking sample, but it has to be a very specific sample. It has to be a gross blinking sample where I can distinguish a note. So when I find a blinking sound that has a note, I try to boost that note in the equalizer. So in practice, I'm tracking down that frequency and boosting it to enhance that note's volume. Here's an example. That's where I heard this subtle, and I wanted to enhance that. So here's what I do. We're going to track down that frequency and boost it. Around there. And we're good. Now the fun begins. What you do is you're going to export that clip that you just processed. And if you have Contact, which is basically a huge sample library that you can play with, what you can do is you can take any sample you wish and drag it into Contact. And what Contact will do is it'll transfer that sample into each note of the piano. So you can basically play that sample with your MIDI controller just like that. I'll show you. Let's take one of our blinks. And there you have it. After playing around a little bit, you get this. That's how I did it. It's a lot of fun. So that wraps up that video. It was a little bit weird, but that's the kind of stuff I like to do. So if you like the stuff I do, you can subscribe or click on the bell thing, and I'll see you guys later.